Thank you everybody for joining us. My name is Lynn. I am a sales rep here at WarmlyYours. Today I am joined by one of our wonderful technical support team members, Scott.
Says right there, right?
It does.
Yeah, cool.
This is good. Today is all about talking about the spa bathroom and how you can create that for yourself or for your customers. So we're going to go over a lot of different information on here. If you have any questions, obviously feel free to ask. You can type them in the chat or in the ask a question feature. And if we don't see it right away, we'll definitely get to these by the end of the presentation today. So, like I said, we're going to be going over quite a bit today. We're going to talk about a lot of our different products and how they can really make a bathroom pop and make it a very spa-like location. So, we're going to go over floor heating. We're going to talk about our portfolio of floor heating options and some of the key features. We're going to talk about shower heating specifically as well, including shower floors and benches. And then we'll talk about our towel warmers and mirror defoggers, how to upgrade some existing mirrors, talk about our LED mirrors, which are a really great elegant lighting feature. And of course, we'll talk at the end about our radiant panels as well. So first thing that we want to mention is some of the design elements of a spa bathroom. So if you're going to be building a bathroom that's supposed to feel like a very serene, luxurious area, often we see people put in a large freestanding tub or a very spacious walk-in shower to make it very retreat-like. Also, we see people do a lot with lighting, adding adjustable lighting elements and warm tones for a really soothing glow, and again, to make it just feel super luxurious. And adding some extra luxury elements to it, like floor heating or towel warmers, is really going to elevate that experience to the next level. So one of the key ingredients to a spa bathroom is keeping it especially warm. When a bathroom is wet and cold, we all know that can be super uncomfortable. Stepping out of the shower when you're shivering is not really conducive to feeling relaxed or really feeling like you are in a spa. So adding a floor heating system is a great way to keep you warm the entire time that you are in that bathroom. This is really going to transform that space and make it feel like a retreat or home away from home in the space. So, Scott, can you kind of tell us a little bit about some of the features of our temp zone system specifically?
Yeah, the cable that we're showing here is just one of the products that we offer that's by TempZone. We make flex rolls, a couple different kinds of cable, easy mats. We do custom fit products. We do pro ruler cable for flexible installation. So there's a bunch of different kinds to use. And the one thing, most of those products can be actually used in a shower. They're wet location listed, making it safe for bathrooms and showers. A bathroom isn't a wet location, but a shower is a wet location. So they're not the same thing, but these cables can go in both places. The only thing that can't happen like that is the custom fit product. That is not wet location listed. So a custom fit mat cannot go into a shower. But that's about the only difference there. In the picture here, we can see the areas that you can heat. Areas specifically you want to look out for, especially like a freestanding tub like this, is anywhere that they're going to be. First of all, you don't want heat under that tub. We get questions for, here's a couple things we get questions for that unfortunately the answers are no. We never heat the underside of a tub. They say, I have a cast iron tub. Can I apply the heat to the bottom of the tub? No, because this heating product must be embedded in thin set and it must be in a floor. So that's very important to keep that in mind. A lot of people ask for, can I put floor heating in my walls in the shower? And the National Electric Code specifically states that you are not supposed to put electric heating cables in your walls, in your showers, or in your bathrooms. It's not allowed, but sometimes a local code official will allow it. So it's always up to your local code. If you're interested in doing a wall, you're going to have to contact your local code official to ask them if they're going to allow that. So it's just a few of the things that we talk about, we get questions about, but we never really talk about. And one of the things that a lot of people that are doing the job for the first time, I want to heat the entire floor. Well, the thing is, we don't heat the entire floor because we don't go under a tub like this because we want to watch out for that because nothing, no permanent fixtures are allowed to be installed on top of floor heating. And then also, if you're working on a standalone tub like this, you also have to make sure that you know the locations of where the water supply pipes are going to be and where the drain is going to be. Because if you don't, plumber is going to come in there and put a drain in, cutting through the tile. And quite often we see electric heating wires get struck by those people putting in the legs for these types of things, the pipes for these kind of things. So we never heat right up to the edge. The idea in when you're heating a room is to heat the areas that your feet are going to hit. So you're never going to heat too close. You don't need to heat too close to the wall because no one ever stands right up against the wall. So we rarely go right up against the wall. And one thing to keep in mind, a lot of people don't know, is that the radiant heat only travels about an inch and a half from the cables in both directions, or in any like a circle, it only goes an inch and a half around that cable. So where there's cable, there will be heat. Where there is no cable, there won't be any heat. So we don't heat right up against the walls. We don't heat under vanities because you can't heat directly under a vanity because it's a built-in thing. You can't heat under a toilet. You want to stay 4 inches away from the wax ring. So by the time you start taking all that away from square footage, you really don't heat 100% of the area. We average somewhere around 80% of the area gets heated. So that's just something to keep in mind, especially if you're new to this. Those are the things that you want to look out for because it's good to know that because we get that question all the time.
Oh, absolutely. That's great information, Scott. Thank you. And you had briefly mentioned shower heating as well. So can you kind of tell us what is different about heating a shower floor or a shower bench versus the rest of the space?
Usually those are much thicker applications. Usually a bench is thick. The thicker the application, the longer it takes to heat. Or if it's too thick, it won't heat. So that's one thing you want to look out for. So your bathroom floor is going to be in about 3/8 of an inch of thin set. So you've got your subfloor, 3/8 of an inch of thin set that has the cable in it, and your tile. So it's a very, very thin application. Showers can be inches deep, right? So that's a lot of thermal mass to heat. So if you want to heat your shower, you might want to think about using a separate thermostat to control that shower heat so it starts earlier and it heats up to a higher temperature because it has to heat that extra thickness. So this floor, I believe, I did this floor. It's been a long time ago though. This floor, I think, has a shower mat, which has the a spot in the middle of the shower mat for the drain. So that's already built in there, so you don't have to worry about putting your cable back and forth manually yourself. And those are available in some different sizes. You can use also, we used a bench mat on this bench. It's a common size. And then we used a separate thermostat for this, I believe. It's been so long ago, I can't remember. But I believe this was a separate thermostat because of the added thickness application. So we wanted the shower to be warm, so it was on its own thermostat so it could start sooner and get up to the temperature that we wanted. So that's where you can choose to have a thermostat that controls your shower and your floor, or one for each. Obviously, the more thermostats you have, the more custom you can get with your feel of, particularly of the floor. So you can do this with cable too. If you didn't want to buy one of the preset mats, or if it's an odd size, you could use cable just to go back and forth in there too. So there's a lot of different ways to do that. So just give us a sketch of your shower and then we can fit something in there for you. So yeah, that's how you do a shower.
Wonderful. Thank you. So, looking at the actual installation, I know you had kind of touched on it briefly. What we offer here at WarmlyYours are custom installation plans that we call SmartPlans to ensure that you're getting the exact coverage that you need for the space. And this is really going to help, like you had mentioned, with planning on where you're going to be heating. It's going to take into consideration where anything that's a permanent fixture will be: tubs, cabinets, vanities, toilets. And then we'll also show you how you can heat around those, where the heating should be, and we'll work with you as often as needed if you need updates or changes made to make sure you're getting the coverage that you are looking for in that space. And when you are actually installing on the day of, this smart plan is going to come super handy. I know, Scott, you do a lot of these installations yourself. You are aware that it's going to make it a lot faster than if you are just walking in and guessing. You're actually going to be, as you can see in the picture here, walking in with a really good game plan. So can you kind of tell us, a few steps, how does the installation actually work from start to finish?
You have to get the correct stuff first, and that's the main hurdle. So people that haven't done this before, the best thing to do is just give us a sketch of the area. Let us figure out what size product goes in there. We'll show you how it's installed. We'll tell you what breaker to use. We'll tell you how many watts, how many amps it is. So you don't have to figure. I see beginners who are trying to do their first job and they're saying, oh, I don't know what size to get here. Do I do the square footage? And how do I figure this out? And it's like, don't bother with that. Just make a drawing
That's
of
our
it.
job.
But what a lot of people, what I'll see then is from some people is they'll just give us a sketch of an 8 by 10 room and say heat this room. Well, we just talked about why we don't do that because we don't heat all of the room. We don't heat under permanent fixtures. We don't heat under the toilet. We may not want to heat in that shower that is not drawn in there. And what they also sometimes forget to use, put in are floor vents. So if you have floor vents in your floor, we can't heat over those floor vents. So you have to show them so we can work our way around them. And if you are like in a basement, you're doing a big install in a basement, always show us where the support posts go because you can't heat through a support post. You have to go around it. So if we know where those support posts are and where your air vents are and where your toilet and that sort of stuff is, we can do that plan for you. So the most important thing is get the correct dimensions. When we send the plan back to you, then take that plan and make sure that it matches the dimensions in your room. Make sure that something didn't change, like the homeowner decided to put a much larger tub in than they had planned for. Well, that tub takes up more space. More space takes up more available heating area in the floor. As that heating area shrinks and the item there under it expands, you're going to have to get a smaller heating system to put in there. The more floor that's taken up by permanent fixtures, the less you have available to heat. So get that plan, follow that plan, and the most important thing we talked about that I didn't talk about yet on that is show us where you want your thermostat, because that's where your electrician is going to put the power for your system. So show us where that is, and then we design all of our plans away from the thermostat because we need to know where that is because the leads are only 15 feet long. So we don't want to put the thermostat on this side of the room and have the product start on this side of the room, right? So that's very, very important. So you can install the product a couple different ways. You can attach it to the subfloor, and then you can cover it with self-leveling and then come back the next day and tile on top of that self-leveling. That gives you a nice flat floor. If you're very, very experienced, you can put the product down on the floor, cover it with thin set, come back the next day and put another layer of thin set. And I'm going in measures of difficulty here. Now, the next thing is the single step method, which is the most difficult because what you're doing is you're putting the product down, you're putting thin set over it, you're back buttering the tile and pushing the tile down, and you're doing that as you go through the room. The problem is you have a tile that's this high, then a tile that's this high, then a tile that's that high. So you have a lot of lippage. So unless you've done this a dozen times or more, don't try it in the one step because you're going to have trouble getting those tiles to line up. Do it in the two-step, either with self-leveling, then thin set and tile, or cover it with thin set, come back the next day, thin set and tile over that.
Yes, absolutely. Very good tips. Thank you, Scott.
Yeah, and never ever turn on the floor heat until the thin set is cured. That doesn't
Yes.
mean hardened or dried, it means cured. That could be 7 days, could be 21 days. It says on the thin set bag what that is.
Yes, absolutely. Very important to keep in mind. So looking at another really great feature of a spa-like bathroom retreat are towel warmers. And now these have been really, really big in Europe for years. They're starting to make their way across the pond over to us here in the States and in Canada. And for really good reason. They are not just super great at keeping your towels warm and making you feel really cozy getting out of the shower, but it also helps dry them afterwards so that it adds some added convenience as well. You don't get any kind of mildewy smells or things like that. And we have
Yeah,
lots of, oh, go ahead.
I'm just going to say the main difference between towel warmers here in towel warmers in Europe, a lot of them in Europe are hot water, which means you have to hook them up to a plumbing system. And if you don't have a plumbing system, that means that you are installing hot water pipes and that sort of stuff. So it's one of those things that you don't want to do after you build. That's what's so great about these is they're electric. You can just hook them up to a circuit or plug them in and you've got hot towels. You don't have to repipe your house to put them in like they do over there.
Yes, they're very convenient to add. And we have lots of models and sizes, so no matter where you're looking at putting them, we're usually going to have something that will fit in that space. We have 19-inch options all the way up to some really large 49-inch options if you're looking to do lots of towels on there. And of course, lots of different models, lots of different shapes, and of course, finishes. We have the stainless, matte black, which is a really great modern looking feature. And then we also have the brushed and polished gold. So, Scott, can you kind of tell us? I know you've done a handful of these towel warmer installations. There's a few different ways to do it. What are your options and what does that look like during the installation process?
Well, think about if do you own your house or do you not own your house? Are you renting an apartment? Because apartments don't want you putting in electrical systems and that sort of thing. So what they'll do is those are designed for plug-in units. You simply attach the plug-in unit to a stud or to your wall because you can always cover those holes up. We used to use toothpaste in the dorm rooms to hide our holes that we drilled. But what you can do is with if in an apartment dweller would buy a plug-in unit, put it somewhere near a plug, put it on the wall, plug it in, and you're good to go. When you're ready to move, you just take it off and you go, and you use it the next place you live. You can also do hardwired. The hardwired requires a junction box that you put the leg into, and that's where your electrical connections are. The dual connection lets you either plug it in or hardwire it, but the hardwiring is done in the leg, not in a junction box in the wall. So there's no junction box in the wall. There's no cover plate, that big ugly cover plate that you see. It simply where that leg attaches is where the power goes in, and your connection is done inside that leg. So there's a bunch of different ways here to install a towel warmer. It pretty much figure out where you live, what's best for the spot you live in, and then just see what models you like.
Definitely. Another great option that we offer are our mirror defoggers, and this helps prevent any steam buildup if you're going to be taking a hot shower or bath, so the mirror stays completely clear and ready to use the second you hop out of that shower. You don't have to worry about wiping it down or letting, some cool air into the space to cool it off. And this is a very simple way to add a little bit of extra luxury into the space. We have lots of different sizes available, and it's an incredibly easy installation, as well as being very low maintenance and incredibly energy efficient. So, Scott, can you kind of tell us? I know you've done a lot of these as well. You've really installed probably everything we offer. So, can you kind of tell us what that installation looks like step by step?
Well, personally, I look better in a mirror that is foggy than if it were defogged. So I've never purchased one of these for myself because I can't stand the strain in the morning to see my own face. But if you're better off than I am, then you will want to be able to see yourself. If you want to, obviously, a defogged area there, what you want to do is you want to put this product on with its self-adhesive. It's like a large decal. You just find out where your spot is on the mirror. Make sure that it's not bigger than the mirror. It has to be smaller than the mirror. And ideally, you're not going to heat every square inch of that mirror. You only want to heat an area that the tallest people and the shortest people in the house will still be able to see themselves. So whenever somebody says, well, where do I put this on the wall or where do I put it on my mirror? I would say get the shortest person that's going to use this mirror and have them look straight ahead at the wall and just make a drawing or just make a mark because that's the eye level for them. And then who's the tallest person and make an mark where their eye level is. And you want it in between that area. That's what you want. You're not going to put it up over here because people need it here, right? So you're not going to do the whole mirror. You just want to get that spot where you're always going to be looking. So that's the first thing you want to do. And then once you find out where that spot is, you need to get electricity to that spot because you're going to be putting a junction box right behind that mirror. And what a lot of people do is they'll just take a tap off the light switch. So whenever the lights are on in the room, the power will go to the mirror defogger. They use very little electricity. You're not going to have to worry about how much power does this use when my lights are on. It uses very, very few watts. So it's not going to be a power hungry device by any means. And then what you do is just you stick it onto the back of the mirror. The best thing is to stick it to the glass, not to a piece of wood behind it. So if your mirror has a layer of wood, you can try it because there's different thicknesses. I can't tell you at a 1/4 inch it'll work, at 3/8 of an inch it won't. I just can't tell you that. It all depends on the thickness of the mirror and all that stuff. But for the best results, I can tell you to put that on the back of the glass. Then if it has to glue to the wall, you want to make sure that you have a border that's not covered by that decal, as it were, that grid, because that area is the area that you have to attach it to the wall with. That's where your mastic is going to go. And you never attach the mastic to this decal on the back because it'll pull right off. It's not designed, this decal is designed to hold this grid against the mirror. It's not made to hold the mirror on the wall, right? It's two different jobs. So if you follow those guidelines, it's a very, very simple install. What you want to try to do is find out where the spot is, where this mirror is going to go, and then get an idea, because you can see in that picture, there's a spot where the cord runs into the connector on the back, and that's kind of where you want your junction box to be.
Yeah,
So you would put the junction box there. You wouldn't put it up in the upper left-hand corner and then run this cable up to the corner in front of the, on the wall. You'd want to get it right there behind the mirror. So if you follow those simple rules, they're very, very simple to install.
wonderful. So next are our LED mirrors, and we have some really great options on these. We have a few different sizes and styles, and a lot of them can be hung either vertically or horizontally. So really whatever you're looking for, whatever your space or setup is, we'll usually have an option that's going to fit that really well. And these are not just very elegant looking, but they're also incredibly functional. They provide a really nice LED lighting that's going to add some supplemental light to the space. Great, especially if you're, using that to shave or do makeup. And they are designed with CUL US listed components so that this is very reliable, very efficient, and they do have a 2-year warranty. And this looks like a familiar person here. So, Scott, can you kind of tell us what you're doing for the installation in these pictures?
Well, this is another install that's very similar to that defogger, because you've got an electrical box there on the back, and you want to make sure that you put a junction box in your wall in the same spot so you can get the wiring from this box to that junction box. So that's very important to figure out where that is. So get the mirror, and you could actually just take a piece of cardboard and cut it to that size and go, where exactly do we want this on the wall? And then once you get that spot, you can mark the corners, and that's where you want to put that. And then you measure the location of that box from each one of those corners so you know where it is. And then you put that area on your wall, put your junction box there. The only thing that's different about this product is the mirror defoggers actually have their own little wire that's attached. It's like 30 some inches long. So you can do that. This you're going to need to supply the wire from that box to the back of the LED mirror where that box is. It's like an intermediate wiring, and it's just like zip cord or something like that. You don't need anything special, but you will have to do that. And you probably need a second set of hands to hold it up, or put a table like we did here, put a table up next to where it's going to go, and then that will allow you to make your connections and then put it on the wall.
Wonderful. Yeah, absolutely. And last but certainly not least, we do want to go over our radiant panels. And these are a really great way to add some extra warmth into the space. They offer infrared heating, which is actually the quickest response time of any heating technology. So it offers very quick, very easy warmth that's going to be quite efficient. It's not going to be a huge power suck, and it's going to warm up that space and make it even better when it's especially cold. And one of the great benefits of these is that not only are they going to help warm the space, but they also have most of them have the option of adding a towel bar as well to make them not just a basically space warmer or space heater, but also to make them a towel warmer as well. And
This product is very similar to the sun. If you can see it, it's going to warm you up. It's going to far infrared is going to heat your body up and you're going to feel warm when you stand in front of it. So it works on the same theory of operation that floor heating does. It gives off far infrared and it actually can be mounted on the ceiling. So the Ember Flex units can be mounted on the ceiling or on the wall or on a stand on the floor. The other Ember units, which are glass or mirrors, they cannot go on the ceiling. They can only go on the walls. And when you're working with these things, these items, to warm up a room, they have to get hot, right? These units get very, very hot. So that's how you get the heat into the room. But the thing is, you want to make sure that they're high enough that a toddler can't, put their hands on it, that sort of thing. So that's where you want to make sure that if you've got toddlers, that you want to put it somewhere where they can't rest against it or put their hands on it because it will get warm. So that's what you want to watch out for when you're installing these.
Yes, absolutely. Toddlers or dogs. I'm also always
Hmm.
worried someone's going to hang it a little too low, and I know
Yeah.
my dog would brush right up against it. So definitely something to keep in mind. And Scott, you had kind of mentioned how these actually hang or where they can be mounted. So like you had said, the mirroring glass models have to be mounted on the wall, so just something to keep in mind. While the Flex units give you a little bit more options on where you can actually mount it. And they do come with a template so that you can make sure that you are ensuring that you are drilling accurately and that you're going to be putting the mounting holes exactly where it's needed. And can you kind of tell us, Scott, how are these wired? Are they hardwired, plugged in? What does that look like?
Both, because they come with a plug on them. So you can either leave that plug on and plug them in directly in the wall. We have one right over here that we plug in. Also, you can hardwire them and control them with the thermostat. But either way, you want to make sure they're GFCI protected. So if you're using a thermostat to power them, the GFCI is in the thermostat. And if you're using a switch or a timer to turn them on and off, you'd want to supply that timer or switch with a GFC breaker. So remember, if you're using a switch of any kind, use a GFCI breaker. If you're going to control it with the thermostat, the GFCI is built into the thermostat. You don't need a GFCI in the thermostat and a breaker. You just need the thermostat. So you can control it that way. If you take a look at that picture on the left, you can see how the towel bar is attached. So you would actually put the towel bar on first, then you would mount those four knobs. In the center photo there, you can see there's four knobs that you're going to be putting on the wall. You're then going to put that heater up, find the spot where the knob lets it go down onto the knob, and then you're going to move it over, and that's going to lock in place. And that's going to be your mounting method for the wall or for the ceiling.
Awesome. Very simple. All right. Are there any questions? I'm double checking here. I hadn't seen any pop up.
We did have a question about heating hardwood, which you can. In fact, use of warm floor under wood flooring. There's a video on our website that shows exactly a job that I did that we'd used nail down wood. So we used the temp zone cable and we used with furring strips that we put down. We have a drawing of it, and the video shows you exactly how it's done. But it's done with these spacers, and then you run the cable back and forth in the space between them, and then cover it with self-leveling. And that gives you a nice flat floor that you can nail the wood into every. That's what those spacers are for, those furring strips, because you nail into those. So we do have a video that shows how to do that. Also, if you wanted to use engineered wood floor that floats, all you would do is you take our heating product. We have a video that shows you how to do this too. Put our heating product on the floor, cover it with self-leveling, 3/8 of an inch or half an inch of self-leveling. That gives you a completely flat floor that you can float any type of flooring over the top of. Engineered wood, laminate, LVT. So that was a great question, and thank you for asking it. Who
Yeah.
was that again? I want to make sure that we give them credit. That was Carol. Great question, Carol.
Thank you, Carol. All right, and Olivia says no questions from Facebook. So we should be good there. Next month's webinar is going to be on a radiant heating done right, how to make sure that you are installing it correctly, how to make sure that you're planning for it ahead of time, and some troubleshooting information for our trade professionals. So feel free to jump in and join us for that on March 13th, right here on Zoom at 1 o'clock in Central Time. We also offer at 4 p.m. We do a few short trainings here, also on Zoom, usually hosted either by either Scott or me. So feel free to pop on in for those as well. Ask any questions that you might have and just learn a little bit more about our various products. At or for February rather, we are offering 30% off of select towel warmers. So be sure to check out our website, which is of course warmlyyours.com for that information and to learn a little bit more. Of course, if you have any upcoming projects you'd like to get a smart plan for, if you have questions on our products or just want to chat about a potential project, reach out to us. We are more than happy to chat. Email us, give us a call, visit our website, whatever works best for you. We look forward to hearing from you. And I think that is all we have today. So thank you so much for joining me. As always, I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you, Scott, for joining us.
Thank
And
you.
stay warm.
And be radiant.